modern history. Typically, we end this class with the fall of Constantinople in 1453. However, we went ahead of that to go discuss the Mughals and discuss the Ottoman Empire as a whole. And I'm bringing them up because they are one of the three gunpowder empires. We've talked significantly about the Ottomans and the Mughals, and we're going to see how the Safavids will interact with both of those groups today and tomorrow. I love how I see some of you writing things down. You're just amazing. I love it. It's okay if some of you are getting it in your brain noggins. So here we see the Safavid Empire. We see it at its greatest extent, going up past the Tigris River, almost to the Euphrates. And we're going to see how primarily their interactions with the Ottomans, we can see, is going to be war. We're also going to see how they're going to deal with war with the Uzbeks. And actually, they are going to be friendly with the Mughal Empire. They're going to be helping each other out. And our man Shah Ismail is going to wind up going and helping Babur set up the system for his empire. So we're starting off with Shah Ismail, which he ruled for approximately 23 years. And with Shah Ismail, you're going to see this name spelled multiple ways. You'll see it spelled this way, Ismail, and you'll also see it spelled with an E, and sometimes with apostrophes in between different parts of it as well. We see that he keeps the tradition of having an absolutely fantastic mustache and a beautiful hat. So thank goodness for Shah Ismail keeping up the tradition. The Gunpowder Empires could definitely be renamed the best hat empires of all time. You don't have to write these two bullets right here. This is just some background information. But we see that Shah Ismail is going to be the ruler of the Safavid dynasty. We say Shah, but that's actually shortened for Shah-un-Shah, which is a title that we've talked about with the Persians forever, because they've taken the title always of King of Kings. Shah-un-Shah, King of Kings. Which, you know, this is the time of year where we start talking about a King of Kings sometimes, so cool. Now, Shah Ismail is going to be a Turco-Mongol, so he's going to have Turkish descent and Mongolian descent. And we see that we started this whole thing off with the Mongols for a reason. The Mongols are going to pave the way for Shah Ismail to be able to go conquer and create an empire of his own. And that land that he conquered was primarily in present-day Iran, but going also into present-day Iraq as well. And the capital is the city of Isfahan. We're going to see pictures of Isfahan tomorrow. We're going to see it's a pretty amazing city. Still is beautiful today. And the Safavids are going to blend Persian culture with Shia Islam. Primarily, the Muslims we've discussed so far in this course have been Sunni Muslims. The majority of Muslims today are Sunni. However, we're going to see that present-day Iran, the historical Persia, the primary sect of Islam is going to be Shia. And it's because of this man, Shah Ismail. And we're going to get to that story coming up, which is why we sang Golden Age. Now, just a quick review for those of you who do not remember, because yes, talking about that was a whole unit ago. I'm sure some of you have quickly tried to get that out of your brain noggins. So, the Sunni-Shia split happened after Muhammad died. We remember that Muhammad, he died rather suddenly. He wasn't expecting to die. He didn't name a successor. He didn't say, Eli, lead after me. No, he just died, got a fever, kicked the bucket over the weekend. Bummer. So we had the disagreements between two different viewpoints. One group, the Shia, said only Muhammad's bloodline should be the successors. So the first three caliphs, Abu Bakr, and my brain is going blank, I apologize. The other two, they shouldn't be the rulers. It should be his son-in-law, Ali. Ali, of course, was married to Muhammad's daughter, his only child, and then therefore Ali's children would be Muhammad's grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So they wanted the bloodline of Ali because that was the bloodline of the Prophet Muhammad. Sunni said it didn't matter who you're related to. He said, just as long as you're a good Muslim. And what's going to happen is Shah Ismail is actually going to have his people convert to Shia Islam. He didn't start off as a Shia Muslim. He actually was a Sufi. His family were Sufis, which there are two definitions for it. One is the Sufi would be the missionaries, but it's also a much smaller less common sect of Islam. Well, excuse me, he converts to Shia Islam and commands his followers to convert to Shia Islam because he needed a way to differentiate themselves from the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire at this time was growing considerably, constantly taking territory everywhere they were. Shah Ismail did not want his people following under Ottoman control, and if they did, he didn't want them being okay with it. So he purposely had his people convert to Shia Islam so that they could have an excuse to kill each other. It is kind of sad because pretty much everyone who knows every religion today, except for the couple Looney Tunes folks, religions typically say you shouldn't murder people. But here we have an instance where the religion is being perverted, and they're saying, oh, well, we need to be Shia and we need to fight those Sunni who are wrong. And unfortunately, there's still violence today about this disagreement, which is really sad. Now, I would want to caution you to remind you that the vast majority of Shia Muslims and the vast majority of Sunni Muslims wouldn't dare think about doing violence on anybody. But in this instance, it was the perfect excuse to be able to start a war. And so we're going to get to the climax battle of that war. The Ottoman Empire had a huge army. Now, Shah Ismail wound up helping a young Babur conquer a lot of land. Now, the deal was that Babur would serve under Shah Ismail, and Babur actually goes and has his army assisting Shah Ismail at the Battle of Calderon. And the Battle of Calderon is going to be a significant event. Now, we have two sides to this. We have the Ottoman Empire. They have thousands of Janissary soldiers equipped with guns. They have heavy artillery pieces, so big cannons, all right? And they're behind a barrier. They're defended, all right? On the other side, we have the Safavid army joined with the Mughal army. They have tons of cavalry, tons of infantry. So who do you think will win? Do we think it's going to be the Ottomans with their guns or the Safavids with their numbers? So I'm launching the poll now. If you don't remember how to do a poll, you simply go click on the little triangle, square, circle button, hit polls, and then you can vote on it. So I'd like all my students now to please vote on this poll, thinking who is going to win this epic clash of the Titans, the Ottoman empires with their guns, the Safavids with their numbers. And it looks like the Ottomans are taking an early lead here with 7 right now, quickly saying the Ottomans will win, and 8 saying this, 2 saying the Safavids. So while you're doing your voting, let's talk about the Safavid mindset. You see, the Safavids, they said, man, men don't need guns. Shooting guns isn't manly. Anybody could kill anybody with a gun. Real men fight with swords, with spears, with our hands. This thought is unreliable because let's face it, Raj here has one of those guns. He can maybe fire once to twice every minute, maybe. Might take him longer to fire a shot. And in the meantime, what's to say that Iris hasn't sliced and diced him? Plus, sometimes they jammed. Sometimes the powder was bad. You couldn't get it wet, so if it was raining, they were useless. So the Safavid said, that technology will never catch on. Now, the vast majority of you who voted, thank you for the 12 students who participated. I appreciate you. All right, the Ottomans won. The Safavid army charges into the Ottoman advance. They're mowed down. They retreat. The Safavid army charges into the Ottoman lines. They are mowed down a second time. They charge again and again and again. And the Safavids are massacred in this fight. And you see, this is the battle that teaches Babur that gunpowder is important. Because if you remember, when we talked about Babur at the Battle of Panipat, when he faced Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultan of Delhi, who had over 100,000 soldiers, had 10,000 war elephants, but no guns. Babur, with 15,000 men, won that fight. He learned that lesson at Calderon. India might never have been ruled by the Mughals if it wasn't for this battle right here, this resounding failure. The Safavid Empire realizes, hey, we need to use guns too, because we're just going to get massacred again. So this Battle of Chaldiran is a resounding defeat for the Safavids. And typically when we talk about an empire and we talk about their battle, we talk about their victories. But here they learned a lot from their defeat, and it's going to change their character. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about a guy named Shah Abbas, who we're going to find out is totally the boss. But that will be next time. I'm stopping the recording now.